If you're a Jezebel, you cause harm. Okay? If you're a controlling person, you're going to hurt your wife and kids. If you're a passive person, you're going to let somebody else hurt your wife and kids. Pretty much all of us, we start as an Ahab or a Jezebel, controlling or passive. And the goal is to become an Elijah, to become assertive. He can lead, he can follow. He can take charge, or he can follow someone else who's in charge. If there needs to be a conflict, he's not a bully looking for a fight, but he will stand his ground. When there is a hard conversation to be had, he's willing to have it. That's an assertive personality. I like to call it being a lion and a lamb. You know when to be tough, you know when to be tender. That's an assertive personality. Elijah knows when to be a lion, he knows when to be a lamb. Ahab is passive. He's controlled by fear, he doesn't like conflict. Let me say this, if you won't do conflict, you will do the demonic. Because the demonic is always willing to have conflict. And if you don't do conflict, you're surrendering to the demonic. I always like to say this, evil never stops itself, so you need to stop evil. What do you do with an Ahab? You need to do what Elijah did. You need to humbly, lovingly, truthfully, courageously have the conflict. That's what we see here. Elijah comes face to face with Ahab, and Ahab tries to control the narrative. You are making a lot of problems. And Elijah returns fire and says, you are the problem. Who or what are you tolerating? Let me say this. If you tolerate, they will dominate. How many of you in school, if you didn't stand up to the bully, do they eventually just stop picking on you? No, they took your lunch money, then they took your bike, and then they try to take your sister. I mean, they just keep going. If you tolerate, they will dominate. Some of us were raised in families where mom or dad was just Jezebel. It was just domination. And the goal was to see which one would then rise up and be the next Jezebel. And every generation's had some domineering, overbearing, controlling person. For some of us, it's been generations of Ahabs. Passive, tolerant, silent, not really enjoying life, but not doing anything to change it. Seeing harm come to those that we love and are supposed to protect. Lord, I pray against the spirit of Ahab. I pray against the spirit of Jezebel, and I pray for the spirit of Elijah. I pray for the Holy Spirit to give us assertiveness, to give us courage, to give us truthfulness, to give us love, to give us patience, to give us forthrightness.